Donald Trump has somehow made this Epstein controversy even worse by posting on a social media platform that this is really just not a big deal. And that has caused a firestorm within MAGA. I have Benny Johnson, who is seriously a mouthpiece for the Trump administration, criticizing the way this has been handled. I have Laura Loomer and her response. I also have Mike Flynn, who you may remember has faced criminal charges and is still a celebrity on the right, on the far reaches of the right. And he's also complaining and critiquing the Trump administration for the handling of this case. And I'm just soaking it all up. And on top of it, Donald Trump was ratioed on his own website. All of this coming right up. Now, first off, I'm not going to read all of this to you, but Donald Trump, this is just half of it. Donald Trump posted a long-ass missive about how this is just not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And he tries to say that this was created by Hillary Clinton and Christopher Steele dossier people. And he was saying that this is somehow connected to Obama and that they are just trying to, again, create a witch hunt against Trump. Now, like I said, this is not working. It's not working. Here's Benny Johnson, a mouthpiece for the Trump administration, a propagandist, critiquing Donald Trump.
So President Trump has acknowledged that the Epstein files exist here. President Trump has acknowledged that the files were written and that there is something there. He says that they were written, however, by his enemies and therefore will not be released. Whoa, what? That's new in this entire zeitgeist. This is something that is wildly interesting. And then he goes all in on supporting Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. No mention of Dan Bongino, where all of this, again, sort of transpired.
Yeah. Now, Benny Johnson, if you don't know, is someone on the right who just pushes out lots of lies and is a big promoter of the Trump administration. He has actually went to Alligator Alcatraz in Florida and just promoted that as if it was this great thing. So he is not one to critique this administration, but you saw his reaction there. He's not happy about this. And that is the way that he's showing it. Now, it's not going to be full-throated because that's just not who he is. And that's not what he does. But people on Donald Trump's platform are much more pissed off. These are just some of the responses to that post that I showed you on Donald Trump's platform, Lie Social. Mike says, Americans care because there needs to be accountability. Without accountability, the same sickos that were his customers are likely still abusing children. Joey says, all the stuff he just posted about are important, but getting the pedos off the street is up there for me as a parent. Vani says, I want you to know that we love you, respect you, admire the hard work you have put into making our country great. However, as a mother and grandmother, I want to know who is raping little girls and boys and justice for those victims within the Epstein orbit. Someone else says, not buying it, Mr. President, downplaying this without disclosing the truth of Epstein, his island, Ghislaine locked up for a supposedly non-existent issue, blah, 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 blah. Well, I also have reporting here that says that Donald Trump actually was thinking about pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell because he was worried that she was going to release information about him that tied Trump to Epstein. Here's a little bit of that.
I think throughout the Trump years, both the first administration and now this second administration, and in between, it has always been an incredibly sensitive topic. So again, that weird juxtaposition of the MAGA guys going Jeffrey Epstein, and Trump, basically kind of cowering, and there was a moment which I reported on at the end of the last administration when he became very wary about the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell and asked whether or not what could she say, what would she say, and should he pardon her?
Well, he certainly said, "Oh, she's a very nice woman. I wish her well." As she was, shortly after she was arrested for, and accused of grooming young women.
Yes, but behind the scenes, and this is, as I say, I reported this was a discussion. I mean, everybody around him was kind of like, oh God, do we want to, we hope she won't say anything, but we really hope he doesn't pardon her.
So Ghislaine is still alive, and she still knows a lot. And I think that's a part of this story that we really haven't talked about, right? But it is definitely something that we should think more about. And the fact that Donald Trump was considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, does that make you feel like Donald Trump is innocent? Or perhaps there's something more going on? Now, there's a lot I want to get through before time is up. So Nicholas Fuentes, who is a far-right extremist, racist, white nationalist, but still I think Latino, so I don't understand how that all works. But he says, so now Trump is claiming the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax, LOL. MAGA is dead, good riddance. So he's just declaring MAGA dead. And another person on the right said, if no one cares about the Epstein files, what the hell was the point of all this? And that's when all these far-right influencers were giving the Epstein files, which apparently no one cares about. No one cares about. And General Mike Flynn said this, please understand the Epstein affair is not going away. And then he goes on and on and on how they need to figure this thing out. This account that I'm not going to repeat, R-Finder, it's a stupid account where they say that they have R's of the day, R words of the day, called Donald Trump an R word. This is a very far right account. Okay, so they have lost the narrative on this thing. And I want to just show you this too. In 2002, Donald Trump said, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. And then, of course, are people still talking about Epstein? Do you want to waste the time? Yeah, I guess we are still talking about Epstein. And MAGA supporters are burning their hats. They're burning their hats. Ooh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful sight to see. And I'm glad they're waking up. I'm so funny that this is the thing that makes them wake up to that, the fact that Donald Trump is a con man and lies. But I'm glad they're waking up. And I hope they can understand that there's only one party who actually wants to defend not only children, but everyone in this country. And I'm going to end with this. A group called Home of the Brave released this ad. If you don't know, they were founded by Sarah Longwell of The Bulwark, as well as George Conway of the Lincoln Project, for whom I used to work for. And it is about Jeffrey Epstein. It's brilliant. I hope you make it to the end because it is fantastic. Thank you for watching. Let's keep following this thing. Let's keep seeing the MAGA Civil War continue to tear each other apart. And I'll see you next time.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, Donald, we are still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Why? Maybe it's because Epstein said he was your closest friend.
That was closest friend.
Or that you repeatedly flew on Epstein's private jet. Or that you called Jeffrey Epstein a terrific guy who likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. Or that your Secretary of Labor was the prosecutor who let Epstein avoid federal sex trafficking charges. Or that when Epstein's co-conspirator was arrested for facilitating the sexual abuse of minors, you said that
I just wish her well.
Or that Elon Musk, your biggest donor and White House senior advisor, said you were in the Epstein files. Or that your Attorney General said,
breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released. A lot of names, a lot of information.
Or that your FBI director said,
on day one, roll out the black book.
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
Or that your deputy director of the FBI said,
that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense.
So, Donald, the reason everyone is still talking about Jeffrey Epstein is because Americans want answers.